Let's continue looking at some methods that we can use to process string data. In this program, we're going to look at 4 additional functions provided by the string library in C++. These are erase, insert, replace, and append. I'm going to use the same example from a previous video where we have this sentence already defined as a string constant. Now, let's look at these different functions. Now, first of all, we'll print the sentence to the output screen so we can see it easily. The first thing I want to look at is going to be the erase function. So we'll print erase to the screen, and then we'll add some code here to see how erase works. What I want to do to illustrate erase is I want to use this sentence, but I want to erase the time 11:10 from the sentence altogether. So that's what we will do as our exercise. So under the cout erase line, let's add some code to do that. If we want to erase the 11:10, the first thing we need to do is to find it. So let's use our find function to do that. So we have position. So position is equal to sentence, and I hit the tab key there. So we want sentence, and we want to use the find operation, and we want to look for 11:10. So we have a double quote here, 11:10, and then we terminate that with our double quote. So this will look for the position where the 11:10 begins within our sentence. Now we're going to use that in order to erase the 11:10. But if you recall from the earlier videos, whenever you do a find operation, we should always include an if statement to make sure that we did find it. So you can look back at the earlier video to see how we do that. I'm just going to copy the code and paste it in here. Okay, well here's the code, but let's take a quick look at it again. When the find function, when it does find the string, it returns the position within the larger string where that substring is located. If, however, it does not find this string, it returns a very large number, and we can represent that number as string double colon NPOS for a positive number, large positive number. So if the position is not equal to this giant number or this thing, then that means we found what we're looking for. In this instance, we're going to write to the screen that we want to erase 11:10 from the sentence since we found it. But if we didn't find it, then we know that there's a problem. We would need to go back and edit our program to make it correct. But we'll just print out that the substring was not found. So if you happen to have a typo in here or something and it didn't find the string, then this if statement will let you know. So after you do a find, always do an if test to make sure that you did find what you were looking for. Now, assuming that we did find it, then let's add code here so that we can actually erase that time 11:10 from the sentence. And this brings in our new function, the erase function. So it's sentence.erase. And the erase function, it does have 2 arguments. So the first one is going to be the location where we want to begin erasing characters. All right, so we wanted to erase the 11:10, so we want to start erasing right there, and that position is going to be saved in the variable position that we did here as a result of find. So we can use position, the variable here, so that represents the beginning of the string that we want to erase. And the second thing that you use with erase is how many characters. Well, you can count those. So we have 5 characters if we wanted to erase only the 11 and the colon and the 10. If you wanted to erase a space, then you need to add another maybe 6 spaces here. But we just want to erase the 11:10. So that's 5 characters. So we drop that in here. So this is going to erase, and let's put a comment there. Okay, erase 5 characters beginning at position, whatever the variable position is. All right, so the erase, that method or that function is very easy to use. You need to attach it to whatever string you're working on. In this case, our variable is sentence. And the function is called erase. The first argument is the position within the larger string where you want to erase things. And then the second one is how many characters do you want to erase. So it's that simple. Then, after we have done that, let's print our sentence out to the screen so that we can see what has happened with the erase. So we'll just do cout, and we'll just simply print sentence here. And we'll do an end line like that. Now, I want to stop the program, and again, I'm running on Windows, so I can use this system pause. If you're running something else, add whatever you need to stop the program at this point. So I want to see only what the erase function does before we proceed. So I'll insert that, and then I'll go back and edit my mistakes. Then we can run the program, and let's see how this works. Now we have the output. So the program prints out, the sentence to begin with. So there's the original sentence. Then we are working on the erase function. So we did find the position 1110, so we did get this output. We want to erase 1110 from the sentence. And then we've actually got the function to do that. So as you can see right there, then we print out the modified sentence here. So you can see we now have CS121 meets from, and then the 1110 is gone. The 1110 used to be there, now it has been erased. So that's what the erase function does. When we use substring just made a copy of what was in the sentence. But if you really want to erase something from the sentence or the string variable, then you can use erase to do that. So that illustrates how the erase operation works. Okay, now let's continue and let's look at insert. I'm going to move the system pause down to there so that it doesn't stop twice. Then after we have worked on the erase operation and we've output our modified sentence, then we want to go on and now let's look at insert. So insert is another operation provided by the C++ string library, and as you might expect, if we can erase something, we can also insert something. So that's exactly what we're going to do here. Now, we erased the 1110 from the sentence, so let's replace that with a different time. Let's suppose that we want to change the time to, say, 12:45 instead of 1110. This earlier part, we've erased the 1110, so now let's use insert to insert the 12:45. And this one, we don't have to do find or anything because we know exactly where we want to put this. So it turns out to be pretty simple. So let's do just a cout here to track what we're doing. We're going to insert 12:45 as the new start time. Okay, period. And as you know already, I cannot type, so let's fix that. Okay, so we'll print this out. And let's add an end line. And then we'll add the code in order to do that. It's really funny, isn't it? The typings are ridiculous. All right, so to insert the new time, it's really easy. We have sentence.insert. And like with the erase, we have a starting position. Where do you want to insert the new information? All right, so we want to put it in the same place that we erased the 1110. So I can use the position from the find earlier, and then what do you want to put in there? Well, I know exactly what I want this time. I want 12:45, so I can just make that a string constant. So 12:45, and then I can just add the semicolon at the end, and that's all we need to do that. So this will insert this substring 12:45 at the same position that we erased the 1110 up above. While I'm here, I can tell you that this can be anything you want it to be. I'm inserting 5 characters where I deleted or erased 5 earlier, but that doesn't matter. You can insert as many characters as you want here. It can be fewer than the 5. So you can replace this or you can insert whatever you want. And also, I put a string constant. If you have a variable that's a type string, then you can use that variable here as well, and it will insert whatever that variable contains. Now, let's output our sentence again, and we can see the changes. So I can just copy the cout, and I'll paste it in here. and we can see what the new sentence looks like. So then we'll have our system pause, which will stop at that point. So now let's compile and run the program. Here's the result. The erase operation, we still have the code for that, or the output from that. So that erased 1110 from here. Okay, then we are going to work on the insert, or use the insert operation. So we're going to insert 1245 as the new start time. And here you can see 1245 has been inserted. So where we previously just had a couple of spaces, now we have used the insert function to insert a new string, so that now our sentence reads CS121 meets from 1245 to 1230 on Monday and Wednesday. Okay, well, clearly that doesn't make sense because we're going backwards in time. But the next thing we'll do is we'll change that 1230 in the next example, which we'll use replace. Okay, so let's now go do that. I'll move my system pause down so that it appears after we do the replace. And replace is a combination of the erase and the insert, right? So it combines those two things together into one operation. So let's write out, again, a cout statement to let everybody know what we're doing. So cout, we're going to replace the time 1230 with what time we're going to make that 2:05 with 2:05. All right, so that's what we're going to do with this replace operation. Now, if we want to do that, we are, again, we're looking for the 1230, so I need to do the find operation to find out, where in this sentence does 1230 begin. So I could count it, but I don't want to do that. I want the computer to do the work for me. I'm going to use the find function. So we'll need to do that here. Okay, so position is equal to sentence dot find, and I want to look for 1245, double quote, 12:45 with a semicolon to terminate that. Now, once again, I'm just going to do a copy and paste for the if statement. So I'm going to go back and I'm just going to copy that if statement that we used earlier when we were looking for 1110. So let's copy that block of code and let's paste it in here. And again, we're seeing, did we find it or not? And if the string is not equal to the big number, then we did find it. So now let's modify this a little bit. Okay, so we want to replace the time, so let's fix that. We want to replace the time 1245 with 2:05. Okay, so that's the purpose of this. So if we found it, we'll write to the screen, we want to replace 1245 with 2:05. Then we're not going to be using erase anymore, so let's remove that and let's put in the replace operation instead. So you know by now that it's going to be the name of the sentence with a dot. So sentence dot, and it's called replace. The replace function does require 3 arguments. All right, so instead of the 2 that we've seen already, we need to have 3 this time. So the first one is going to be the position, as before. So that's the position where we want to replace something. And that position was found when we did the find operation. So the position is going to be, let's scroll up right there. Okay, that's what we want, the 1230. We want that to go. And I think I'm going to have a problem. I just realized I was searching for 1245 here, so that is not correct. So that would have given me the error message down here. We didn't find the string. But I'll go ahead and fix it now. So what I want to do here is we want to replace 1230 with 2:05. So I want to find 1230. Okay, not 1245. And I'm not replacing 1245. I'm replacing 1230. Okay, now I think all that's correct. So the position of the 1230 comes first. Then the second argument is how many characters do you want to replace? Well, I want to replace 5 again. So I want to take out the 1230 altogether. Then I'll add a comma. And then the third argument is what do you want to replace those 5 characters with? So in this case, I want to replace it with 2:05, double quote, and then put a semicolon afterwards to terminate that. So the replace function works like this. You have to have a string variable. In this case, we're using sentence all the time. So within this sentence, we want to replace something. We want to replace beginning at that position. We want to replace 5 characters, and here is the replacement. Okay, 2:05, and notice I'm replacing 5 characters with 4. Okay, 2:05, and that's fine. Like as with the insert, the length of the string can be anything you want it to be. All right, then we'll print the sentence back out, and then we will continue. All right, so let's compile and run the program. Here's the result, and actually I see I'm kind of redundant here. I've printed out this replace the time 1230 with 205 twice, so indeed I did. So here's the cout statement there following replace, and also I included that in here, so I didn't really need to do it twice. I should probably take this one out up there, but it's okay, it doesn't matter. Now, inside the function we do, or inside the if statement, we do the replace function. And it says that we want to replace the 1230 with 205, and then we output the sentence again. And here it is. Okay, so here's our modified sentence. So we have taken out the 1230 and we've put in the 205. This is the original sentence up here. Right? So we replaced this 1245 with 1230 previously. Now we are going to go in and we're going to replace the 1230 with 205. Right? So there's the 205 back in. So now we have modified the sentence. Right? So let's look at the original sentence. The original sentence, we had 11:10 for the start time and 12:30 is the end time. Then we use the erase and the insert so that we replace the 11:10 with 12:45. Then we use the replace operation and we replace this other time over here, the 12:30. We replace that with 205. So now we have edited our sentence using the erase, insert, and the replace operations. So let's stop here. And there's one more we want to do. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is append. So we will do that next. Since we're at the end of the program, we have a system here, then I'm going to just delete that one altogether, and we will work with append. Now, as implied by the word append, append allows you to append a string onto an existing string. So it's always going to go on to the right-hand side. It's not going to insert it anywhere in the middle. It's going to append it on the right side, always. So it's pretty easy to do. Let's take our sentence that we have already. Okay, sentence dot append. Then the append is very simple. It only has one thing because we know where it's going. So we can append a new string onto the end of an existing string, and in this case, it's going to be sentence. So we put in what we want to append here. So let's say double quote space in classroom 307. Okay, so let's add that in with a period there. So this will append to our existing sentence this additional information here in classroom 307. Okay, then we will print the sentence out again. So I'll just copy that and paste it here. And let's see what the result is. So I'm going to compile and run the program again. And here is the output. So after we've done append, then we have a new sentence. CS 121 meets from 12:45 to 2:05 on Monday and Wednesday. And here's the appended part, in classroom 307. All right, so that's how append works. The sentence doesn't look very good now because there's an extra period in there. So let's see if we can get rid of that, and then we'll have a cleaner sentence. So by now, you know that we can do this in a couple of different ways. We can just go in and erase that, which is what I'm going to do. Or if you wanted to replace it with a space or something, you could do that as well. So I'm just going to find that dot, and I'm going to I'm just going to erase it. Okay, so let's go do that. All right, so we're going to put the code. We'll put the code here after we've printed the sentence. I'm going to put a comment here. I want to erase the first dot. Okay. Then where's the dot? Need to find the dot. So I am going to look for that with find. So position is equal to sentence dot find, okay, double quote, and a dot and a double quote. Now let's put those in parentheses as required, and follow that with a semicolon. And you might wonder, well, why did I use double quotes if I only have one character? So it's just a dot that I'm looking for, but the find function requires this to be a string. And if I had used a single quote around it, then it would be a character type and it would not match. As always, we need to test to make sure that we did find it. So let's add that if statement in here. And again, I'm just going to copy something we've done already and edit it. So I'll copy and paste. So if the position is not equal to the big number, then that means we found it. So I am going to change my comment here. I'm going to erase the period. Then I can use the erase operation here to do that. So sentence dot erase, and I want to erase that position wherever that first period shows up. And it's only one character, so I'll erase one character. Then put the semicolon, and then we'll print out the sentence. So if I didn't find it, then I will get this error message here. Great. Now let's compile the program and run it. Here's the result. So after we erase the period at the very bottom, then our sentence now looks like that. So we don't have the period here anymore. I just erased it. And now we have a complete sentence. So this illustrates some of the string processing functions available to you in the C++ library. But there are more than what I've shown you. Just to give you an idea of the huge number of functions available, I'm going to go to a reference I like to use, which is C++.com, and I want to bring in this C++.com reference and show you that there are a large number of functions available in the string library. So this is the basic string, and you can see all these things over here. But we have looked at some of these, like here's size, here's length. We looked at those. We looked at the operation. We just looked at insert, erase, and replace. Well, here's find down here. But you can see that there are a lot of others that I didn't go into. So be aware that even though I didn't cover all of these, then if you go to a C reference, a C++ reference, whatever your favorite one is, then you can get descriptions of many other string processing functions that are available to you as a C and C++ programmer. You just have to educate yourself on how these various functions work. All right, so I think that is sufficient for this video, so we're going to stop right here.